and thank you for joining me, Hilary Rose, on the Live Wild podcast. This episode is super special, and I am so pleased to have actor, writer, and meditator, the one and only Robert Sheehan, on the show.
Even in a quiet room where I'm now, listening to the sounds that are there, in that way, kind of one becomes their environment, I think, through the senses. You're no longer yourself going, well, I've got to get them stamps and I've got to send that email to my person. You know, you're not your your person, because you're not listening to your person anymore. You've begun to sort of blur the boundaries between your person and your person's environment, you know, by sort of letting all of that blur and let the senses kind of become what's outside. That's a really good way of exchanging information with your environment, I think, which is kind of always there and available.
Rob's fame exploded worldwide after his role in the Netflix show Umbrella Academy. We chat about that level of fame, his first role as a child actor, the psychology of acting, and of course, meditation. It's Robert Sheehan. He's here on the Live Well podcast. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Great pleasure. Thanks for having us.
We've been trying to do this a while, so I'm really, really excited to have you here. And thank you, because I know how busy you are, Rob. I know how busy you are. Loads of different projects, lots of travel, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's true enough. We've been doing that kind of podcast dance, haven't we?
We have.
Free that date. No, but I could be free this date. No, sorry.
Let's go on this bit of software. That's not working. Okay, let's go on this bit of software. Where does it all begin, Rob? I mean, I want to look back across. There's so many things that I'd love to talk to you about today, but I suppose one of your first professional roles as an actor was Song for a Raggy Boy. You were 14. Yeah. So young.
You've done your research.
Yeah, you were 14. You were so young. What was that like as an experience for you?
It was a bunch of different auditions happened out of Dublin. The first of which we saw on The Den for Irish people. Irish people don't know what The Den is. It was sort of a daytime in studio RTE thing hosted by Ray Darcy, and a turkey puppet called Dustin, and a sock puppet called Socky. Do you remember that?
Yes, and Zig and Zag were there at one point as well.
Yeah, they were right at the beginning, weren't they, Zig and Zag? Did Zig and Zag start in the UK on Channel 4, or did they start on RTE and then move to Channel 4?
Correct, second one. So they started on RTE. They were the aliens on RTE, and then they went to Channel 4, and I think I don't know that they were appreciated as much as they were over here.
They were our most successful televisual export before
you.
So anyway, they said on The Den, they said, anybody who's interested in being in a film, there's a big audition happening on Saturday. And young Rob started salivating wildly down in Portlaoise. She went, I want to be in a film, because it's a little show off, I think. And so my mother and myself went along, and it was a series of different auditions over the course of about 18 months. And looking back as an adult, I think it was one of those things where the film had its funding and then lost its funding and then kind of re-got its funding, because that was how the auditions panned out. And it was just, the auditions were big piles of young fellas, show-offs from around the island, all shouting and roaring in a room and being called in one by one or in groups or being mixed and matched. And it was it was very surreal to find that I'd gotten a part in the film, a small part, and heading off. I was in the Gaeltacht in Cara Row. I was 14 and got the message through from my parents, and I had just dyed my hair completely blonde on the top. So I had this kind of blonde bowl at the top of my head. And you got a part in this film set in 1939. I went, great. And so the first thing they did to me when I got down there, down to West Cork, was they dyed my head kind of a sort of a jet black colour, all my hair. And it was quite a sunny summer, so I looked like a little Italian kid running around. I stick out like a sore thumb. I'm all zombies, but pasty, white, malnourished Irish kid.
Irish children, yeah.
Yeah. I have this great tan and black hair in that film.
Mm.
So yeah, it was great. It was a very formative summer.
Was it fun? Was it a fun experience being on set?
It was, despite the sort of the kind of very serious and subject matter we were dealing with, the abuse of boys in an industrial school in Ireland. It was great fun, to be honest. It was great fun because I suppose they had wisdom to let us just run around and, mischievous little kids, and kind of only rein us in when it was absolutely necessary to do so. And we were shooting in this former, what would you call it, like secondary school for boys. Not an industrial school, but a school that, boys around the country would have been sent off to.
Yeah.
A sect of Christian brothers called the De La Salle.
Oh, yes.
The humor from France. And they had some big schools around Ireland. In fact, my father went to a De La Salle school for 3 years in County Laois.
Oh, wow.
11 or 12 years old. And when he got to the age where they put the brothers' robes on him, he went, "I'm out." I quit and went back to Kerry. And so around, kids up to his kind of generation. So by the time they used the De La Salle school in West Cork, in Ballyfourney, it had shut down and they were about to go renovating it and turn it into something else. And the production convinced them to stop and postpone their reconstruction so that they could, still have the old kind of falling down look,
I think it still has that falling down look, doesn't it? When you drive through Ballyvourney, is that the one that you see, the big massive one?
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's all barricaded.
Yeah, nobody ever did anything with it.
Wow.
So that's where we shot it. Yeah, that's where we shot it. We stayed in people's houses around the village, people who volunteered spare rooms and stuff. Yeah. So it was
it's kind of like Irish college.
Yeah, it was like Irish college. Exactly. It was kind of like mad summer camp. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Irish college, I met you on an Irish language film that I was helping out on. I can't.
True.
Do you remember that? On Quater, were you a Gaeilgeoir? Are you a Gaeilgeoir? Or had you? No.
Níl éin Gaeilge go.
Teanga.
Agus tá brón arm.
Yeah. Is it something you'd like to come back to at some point, do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I would. I think the language or the desire for it burns in the hearts of all those people who can't speak it. I just did this short film for RTE called "Did You Read About Erskine Fogarty?" Or it might be called "Did You Hear About Erskine Fogarty?" Because I've seen both written down many times. But in the production office, the second AD and one or two of the hair and makeup people and an assistant runner on the production all had Irish, and actually our actors had Irish as well. So I kept coming in the morning going, "Imagine jazz agus conas táistív," and trying to get a bit of kind of two for the price of one, the film and maybe a bit of a biogan in Gaeilge fresh.
Yeah.
We did get a small bit of Irish going, In fairness, they indulged me quite a bit.
Mahu.
It felt really great. It felt really nice. And then a few of us brought in books, like slang books and things, just so then we were sort of laughing about Irish slang. And, it sort of led to a whole kind of Irish language conversation. It was great.
It's so interesting. I did an Irish language project this year, which will probably be out soon. But it really sparked something within me. Again, like you said, feeling like a loss, that you've kind of lost your mother tongue. tongue. And then also it did something really, really bizarre. Practicing being bilingual opened up this other side to my brain. So I had this really immersive experience with the language. So on day 5, I was dreaming in Irish and I woke up thinking in Irish. And it all came back to me. It was all there. And I was able to talk to the crew and understand the crew in Irish. Now, on camera, I kind of clammed up because I was like, oh, I'm going to make a mistake. But it really, really kind of inspired something within me. And after that, it's like this big, massive creative streak opened up for me. And I think that was because of what it does to your brain, reconnecting different parts of your brain.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And Manchán Magan, who we love in Ireland, he's a great collector of Irish words and Irish meanings. What I learned from reading his stuff is what I could kind of I could just describe the thing that I felt I was missing in my Irish language education in school, which was the meanings and the sort of conceptual meanings and them being different to the meanings that's been translated into English, you know. In my Irish education, it was basically like that means that means that means that, and so forth. Where you know, it's just not true. You know, the meanings of those words and the concepts behind them have everything to do with the environment that Irish people were living in. You know, how they characterized and how they saw reality. And so if I did go back to learn Irish, it would be with somebody who could teach me not just the kind of brittle translation into English style teaching, which goes nowhere in my head, but actually someone, you know, who has a bit more of a breadth of the psychology of the language. You know?
It's like even the very basic greeting of Diagwit. Let God be with, like literally, hello is Diagwit, and that is let God be with you.
Yeah, and it's quite a fairly recent standard hello in Irish language, apparently, you know, post-Christianity. But I'm not sure what hello was before, you know, the God botherers showed up, you know.
And stripped our true selves. You know, we'll come to that. What when you look back, what was it in performance that sparked that interest for you? I mean, you talked about it really briefly when you said, okay, there was a film, you were 14, you wanted to be in it, but like as an adult looking back now, what's the psychology? What do you think or feel? What do you feel really is the psychology behind wanting to perform?
When I was a kid, it was to do with approval. It was to do with getting a kind of a mass approval from other people, because the very first thing I ever did was a play in school, just for the parents. You know, we put it on for 3 or 4 days. And out of that, there was, you know, I said about it in my book about how my first performative experiences were religious in nature. And my first religious experiences were performative. And that's very true of that first play I did. There was an enormous sense of, you know, magic. It's like, what's the word? I don't know. An enormous sense of wanting to do more of this, because I was playing Oliver in this play and getting the whole room laughing uproariously and kind of, you know, getting a few of the parents up on stage and doing some audience participation and just getting such a profound and explosive and coherent level of laughter out of that many people. Felt like a religious experience. Do you know what I mean? A real religious experience. And actually the first audition of that song or like the final audition, of that song for a Raggy Boy film, also something very profound and a kind of loss of self happened in that audition, where I went in there all kind of pregnant with anticipation and nervous and everything, and then had a sort of adrenalized kind of loss of self experience where I came back down to reality after the audition was finished, and I was kind of coursing with adrenaline and hot tears streaming down my cheeks. We were doing a very painful scene in the thing. And it was years later I realized that my kind of drive as an actor wasn't necessarily to get the job, but it was to recreate that feeling in the audition room. That I was chasing very specifically. It wasn't even the "you got the job" moment, which was really lovely, but it was this original baptism that I got in the book, and that truly was the drive. Yeah.
And I have firsthand experience of you being very powerful at that. Actually, you probably don't even recall this, but again, back to the Irish language film that I was helping out on, and you played a character in that. And there was one moment, and it can get emotional on set anyway, because people are tired and, there's a lot going on. But there was one particular moment where you were sitting, I think it was in front of your birthday cake, the character's birthday cake, in a kitchen. And we were all tucked away in corners of the set, obviously. And, the cameras were rolling. And you brought this level of genuine emotion to it that rippled out throughout the whole set. And it rippled through all the crew, myself included. And we were trying, you were so young, I don't think you even realized this. And I don't, it was probably hidden from you in some way. But we were all tucked into corners, sobbing along with you.
Wow.
Yeah. And trying to stay quiet for sound purposes and so we could all do our jobs properly. But yeah, it was quite remarkable. I remember that experience. So yeah, you are quite powerful at doing that. It's like, I suppose it comes back to your experience of being on stage and making people laugh. It brings that level of emotion, actually brings people together.
It does. It really, really, really does. Yeah. I think you're right. It's the much more, I use the word religious, I suppose, to mean a powerful sense of community, powerful sense of connection between people. And that's what I think I'm in it for. This year I've done 2 plays back to back pretty much. And it's just, it's magnificent. What a buzz to be on stage and you have 600 people, or more recently in the Gaiety, 1,250 people every evening.
Yeah.
And you're in a play that they really like. And it's just such a beautiful magic feedback loop. It's gratification, and it's it really is truly powerful when it's going well.
Yes, when it's going well. That's my next question, actually. I mean, you've had massive success in film, TV, theatre over the years. I mean, I'm going to list a few, Robbie, but, obviously there's so many more, like Love, Hate, Misfits, Umbrella Academy, and then On Stage with Nail and I, and many more. I think you've probably answered it, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Like, where does your heart lie? Would you have a preference of the 3 disciplines?
Like anything, you find you find the things you love within each of them. I must say theater probably is the one I love the most as an actor, out and out theater. But then recently again, doing the Erskine Fogarty short.
Yeah.
6 days filming, quite by the seat of our pants in terms of how quickly it had to be shot. In fairness, they did loads of pre-production, had lots of different locations sorted out. So so I really, really enjoyed being on camera doing that recently. Again, because I'd spent the whole year on stage. So I think one tends to complement the other, But the sort of immediacy of the audience are enjoying the piece as you're performing the piece. That's where an actor naturally is. I went to a screening of a thing the other night in London. This Trailer Park Boys film called Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, right? Which I shot like a few hours of last year, the beginning of last year. And it was really lovely to sort of come back, and it was in Abbey Road Studios as well.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right, because we shot there, and it was nice to kind of see everybody. But then, then the screening happens. We all enjoyed the film, And then you go, right, well, and you sort of get, you kind of move on quite quickly. There's such a sort of abstracted, somewhat detached relationship to a film screening. It's something that you did a year and a half ago, I suppose.
Yeah.
Compared to the immediacy of it on stage. But it's it's a complex thing, because as you and I know, if you want to make any money as an actor, and if you want to have any few quid in your bank account, then you want to probably be doing more on screen stuff. And also and for that reason, the economic reason, brilliant people, I'm sure, who you admire and I admire, gravitate towards making films, making television. And a lot of the thing I like to do is work with people that I admire, get to work with people whose stuff I've seen and go, wow, yeah, it'd be great to work with them.
Yeah.
That sort of draws you into the film and TV world as well,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have
Peter Foot, our dear Peter, who made On Creature? I mean, he's an amazing filmmaker. He's incredible, He
is.
And we will do something again together.
I think so. I think you guys will, definitely. Yeah. I might be hiding in the corner on set.
Or perhaps not hiding in the corner. Just on set.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to hide. How did you cope with fame so young? And how do you cope with it now? Because obviously your career has gone bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Umbrella Academy, enormous. Did it feel like it was an extra level of fame that you hadn't dealt with before?
Yeah, big time, yeah. Fame when I was younger was compared to the Umbrella fame injection, it was I suppose looking back, it didn't seem all that. But once the Umbrella Academy came out and everybody was locked down in their houses, so the entire world watched it, or whatever. And that changed things, because people were kind of offering a different kind of reaction to me when they saw me on the street, a sort of a more senior reaction, or a more sort of air of reverence or something, because I was very current and people were very aware of how many people were all watching the show at once, I think, across the world. So that sort of gave rise to a different level of sometimes intensity in people, and I wasn't ready for that in any way. I hadn't done any kind of preparation for that, even though my entire life I'd been working towards being a successful actor and all those things, and fame is part of that. But still, at first, because I had a few unpleasant experiences with people kind of pawing all over you, or trying to get something out of you and being really intense about it. The story of fame, my fame, started to become really negative. The themes were, it's dangerous, you got to be looked out for, and so on. And I had to kind of cop on and get over that, to be honest, because it was limiting my life. I was creating my own suffering in the kind of Buddhist sense of it,
Yeah.
I had to sit down and take a long look at it and go, well, why, is there a world in which fame, this new fame, could be enjoyed? Is there a world which could be embraced and kind of used to my benefit for the things that I want to do, and so on? So I was asking myself, can I change the themes of the story from completely negative to negative and positive, so that it's a bit more balanced? And so I kind of worked at that for a while. It took maybe a year or two.
Okay.
Of kind of meditating on it, and sort of looking at the newsreel of the story that pops up in my head as I think about my fame. And but there's a lot of good things, a lot of stories, a lot of interesting things that I've done, and things that I've gotten to do as a result of having a bit of profile, and people being really kind and lovely to me, and perks here and there.
Yeah.
And so all of that kind of was reestablished as part of the story as well. And it sort of set the scene for self-compassion, I suppose, around when people want something off of you, you know.
Mm.
I was able to start saying no, you know, if I didn't feel like I wanted to just, you know, because sometimes people, you know, with the best of intentions can kind of treat you like a commodity.
Yes.
Because they'll come up and they'll go, "Can I have a photo?" You know, and it's for me, it's the most unpleasant thing to say, no hello, no nothing, you know.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. Like, they're trying to kind of not take too much of your time, you know. They're trying to be nice about it. But there's sometimes where you're just, you know, you might be in the wrong mood, or it might be the wrong hour of the day, and you just go, no. That no came out of a sense of self-compassion, you know, whereas before, when fame was this bad thing and couldn't control, no wasn't possible, you know, because the feeling it would leave between the two of us was too unpleasant. And so it was nice that self-compassion created a kind of practice ground for no, you know.
Yeah.
And now the no is quite easy, and people go, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
And, so it means I have more control over fame now. Yeah. And means I kind of don't have to worry about it as such.
That is such a breakthrough, isn't it? To have that no. And it's a kind no, like you said.
Yeah.
I had to put that no in place as well last year, just more for the kids, really. No, thank you, not while I'm with my family. And people go, oh, okay. You know, I love, Rob, that you talk about meditation so openly, because a lot of people, I think it's become much more engaged with now in the public domain, but I think a lot of people would have kept their meditation and the workings of their heart private. But I love that you talk about it openly, and you've written a book called Playing Dead: How Meditation Brought Me Back to Life. I'm sorry, I normally have the book with me, but we did this so fast I didn't get a chance to do it. But I do have your first book, Disappearing Out.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
That
Loved it.
With the great hair.
It's a great, actually.
Hair made of
I never noticed.
Look at that.
I thought that was your actual hair. I'm so sorry I never noticed.
It's like little dingleberry ringlets singing off the
Great. Cool illustration. So yeah, you have a second book. What inspired you to write this book, Playing Dead, all about meditation?
Hey, if you're enjoying this podcast and you'd like to show us your support, if you like, you could buy us a coffee using the Buy Me a Coffee app or online at buymeacoffee.com/livewildpodcast, or just click the link in our show notes. It will take you there. Alternatively, you could like, subscribe, or share the show with your mates or on social media. It really helps us bring you the very best show. Thank you so much for your help.
I had been doing lots of acting work, and as you well know, it takes you around like a kind of a itinerant around the place, especially when it's going well. It sort of takes you all over the place. So I was bouncing all over the place from job to job. And, you know, talking about when I was a kid, I think the kind of conditioning in me when I was a kid was, this is the thing. I will be, if I'm successful at this will make me happy and whole and all those things. And then when I was 30-ish, I was being successful at those things and doing jobs that I wanted to be doing. But I didn't feel happy or whole. I felt sort of miserable. To be honest.
Yeah.
Felt really kind of lonely and sort of disconnected from life, and wasn't sort of, you know, was kind of clinging to the job aspect of it. Going, oh, this is what, you know, and lying to myself a small bit. So I had to come to terms with that and kind of man up a little bit and go, no, you do feel miserable, and you're sedating yourself with alcohol too often, and you know, casual sex and those types of things. So I just decided, well, maybe meditation could be good, you know, and I sat down and sort of just to look at my rate of impulses. Do you know what I mean? My rate of wanting to do things and how that's affecting me. And then the good thing, I suppose, the one wise thing that I was fortunate enough to do in terms of when I was starting off meditating was not expecting it to be transformative within the first, even few months. So I said to myself, I'm going to do this when I can, maybe for 6 months to a year, and then we'll see where we are, kind of thing, as opposed to it's going great, in the first.
Yeah.
Just didn't heavy it with judgment, good or bad. And that was a good thing, because it did take me a while anyway, going from someone who was responding to their impulses every day, pretty much all day, to somebody who could have spaciousness just to see those impulses and just let them sort of winnow by like a little fish. And so that took a while, that took maybe 6 months to a year to sort of break my conditioning.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing thing. And then, later on, meditation kind of, I suppose, unfolded in more and more very, very profound ways, where you realize the sort of the limitlessness of awareness, watching the kind of limitedness of being a human being, that becomes just this extraordinary, journey, I suppose you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so the book came out of when there started to be a shift of spaciousness, I suppose, within. I started journaling a lot, because the shift of spaciousness correlated with a kind of a vein of creativity that I could access just by sitting down and having a little watch. And inevitably I would arrive at a kind of platform of this sensation of creativity, which wanted me to mostly write, or write about acting. And so I started writing about meditation, because it was very sort of the journaling at first was very impersonal. It was very like, it had none of my personal life in it. It wasn't a diary or anything. It was more it was more coming out like a kind of a know-it-all twat would write it, basically.
Observations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seminar stoned writing. And that kind of went on and on. I was journaling for ages and ages and ages. And then basically through a sort of lockdown podcast project that me and a couple of friends of mine did, we interviewed Deepak Chopra, who's a
nice. Yeah.
famous meditator and so on. And his publisher in the UK got in touch and said, we really loved that interview. Would you be interested to do a book? And I had all these reams and reams of kind of raw material. So I curated about 10 or 15,000 words of it and sent it over to them. And they went, yeah, sure. And then there was supposed to be, I think, a 2-year period. And then I was supposed to hand in the book. But that became, I think, 4.5 before I handed them the book. So they were very impatient, in fairness, because the book, I just needed that level of time to sort of figure the book out, because there was some good insights in it, but I kind of had to, become more aware of an audience that were going to be reading it. So I had to dig into my past and find anecdotes and memories and find a kind of progression through my life that I can kind of attach the meditation stuff to. And that was weirdly the hardest bit of writing the book, was sort of making my own life sound interesting, It was very tricky. It was tricky to kind of unearth memories as well.
Do you feel that in some sense, like making the book coherent, we'll call it in that sense, did that make your own personal experiences more coherent within you?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, because it was like a form of therapy. It was like it was like a period of prolonged self-looking, where you go, oh yeah, no, I did that because of that. That very, very specifically came out of that, And I think, as you said, we know all of this stuff about ourselves.
Yeah.
on some level, some unconscious level. But to make room for it in the conscious awareness is hugely therapeutic. I think.
Mm. It's
And
just joining the dots, I think.
yeah, totally. So
Mm.
yeah, the book was a sort of form of therapy. It really was.
Mm.
And I felt
Beautiful.
very fortunate about the book because, well, for a number of reasons. One, because I think it's rare for someone at my biological age to look back on their lives
Yeah.
so thoroughly or
Mm.
so much, and to because this is the time in our lives where we're all, jobbing and kidding and doing all these things, and we don't have 5 minutes to really reflect. I know kind of real reason, to sit down and spend a long time thinking about things.
Mm.
And it was just a huge, lovely bonus. It was really a lovely way of attaining self-knowledge, I suppose.
Mm. Beautiful.
And it also happened throughout our strikes. So there was the writer's strike in the US.
Oh, so it's just worked out perfectly for you to be able to do it, like between the pandemics and writer strikes, that you had the space to do it.
Yeah, it was such a gift. It really, yeah.
Do you feel like you had any one specific awakening moment? I mean, I'm going to say that you're awakened, Rob. I can kind of sense it and see it in you and everything that you're doing and talking about. And do you feel that there was one specific moment, or was it over a period of time that this happened?
I think it was more over a period of time.
Mm.
Yeah. There was lots of those little eureka moments.
Mm.
Lots of really, really profound meditations that I suppose touched a quality of stillness that I'd never had before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the lovely thing, is that when kind of things shift back in your favor in the meditation journey, and you're no longer kind of going, you're no longer kind of grasping and wrestling with the other you inside your head.
Yeah.
You start to sort of, the muscle memory in your body starts to change because you touch deeper and deeper platforms of stillness, or higher, depending on how you conceptualize it, I suppose. And there was one actually in the book. There's an out of body experience, just one, which I had, and it is only just the one I think I've ever had. It's in a slightly different place in the book than where it happened in real life.
Mm.
Just for the flow, of the thing.
Yeah.
And but it was an extraordinary experience where I'd done some physical exercise and done a bit of yoga and stuff. So I was, you get that endorphin rush after moving. You feel good about yourself and stuff. And I sat down and I listened to a guided meditation by Muji, who I'm always happy.
I love Muji. He's awesome.
He's like your lovely granddad with lovely pearly voice that just so soothing and relaxing.
He's amazing. Yeah. And his Caribbean intonations.
Yeah.
It kind of gives a different feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Lovely music and magic to his voice. Really true. And so he was going on about that which cannot be perceived, that which is perceiving cannot itself be perceived. And I was going, well, that's interesting. I wonder how much of that I can perceive, or if any. And so I started to sort of zoom out the lens of my, whatever I am that's looking. And sort of could I see some of the looking, And suddenly I completely just disappeared out of my body entirely,
Wow.
Had this very extremely euphoric, blissful experience where I had no body and I had no mind per se. I was just a kind of awareness floating. Oh, that's kind of how it's saved in the memory. And I came back to my body. I don't know how long after that. I was bawling, crying, and lying in a fetal position. And it's just extremely lovely because it was like dying, I suppose. It felt like like dying. And it made me go, oh, well, if that's dying, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's okay.
In no way, again, afraid of that. It'll be it's going to be really, really lovely when it happens, I think. And so it gave me a really sort of just, and the body, once that was touched, I felt very changed after that. It felt more like, I felt like less form with space and more space interpreting form, I suppose.
Oh, that's so nice. It's almost like a quantum flip.
Yeah.
That's nice. Apart from that, are there any other weird or wonderful things that have happened to you during meditation or do happen you? Or I'm so interested. I love the internal workings of people, particularly when they're meditators. Like, what's the weird stuff that happens? Like, did you get that download too? Yeah, because that happened to me. And I ended up in Egypt. Oh my God, where were you? This is the stuff. I love the nuts and bolts of like what goes on.
There's a thing I talk about in the book called, so I've kind of badged it myself, the field of infinite dreams. Again, is another sort of platform, if you will, of relaxation meditation that I arrive at. But I've spoken to, as you said it like that, I've spoken to other meditators who've gone, you can get to a place where you hallucinate like crazy. And I go, yeah, I know, I've definitely arrived at that place that sort of supersedes language or has it's just things happening visually and conceptually in there that have that are to such a depth that language just
doesn't matter. Yeah,
it cannot represent what you're experiencing, and that's really fascinating. That's really interesting. It's like the sort of the workshop of the imagination or something. You're watching.
Yeah, nice.
You're watching this kind of big, mad, liquid, expressive sea throwing up scenes, extremely vivid scenes of things. And
it's almost like that midpoint between sleep and wake, where like those brain waves are so deep, anything can happen. And if you can actually step into that and not take control of it, but shape it slightly, it's unbelievable what can happen then in your reality post that experience,
Yeah, it's dreaming while you're awake. Like it is aware, but you're wide awake.
Yeah.
Experiencing, I think, the sort of the dream generator or something. It's interesting. It's this sort of, it's like that thing that, Bob Dylan and various others over the years have said about the things that they've written or created. I remember Dylan said about Highway 61 Revisited, they said, but where did you write this? How did you write this? Where did it come from? He goes, I didn't write this per se. I was sort of channeling this. And that's what creativity feels like overall, I think, when it's going well. And I think we're like tuning forks sitting on top of that field of infinite dreams. And there's all this glorious just essence of creativity stuff frothing around, and then it sort of takes on some sort of form or sense through us and to us, the individual, and comes out into the material world as our story or whatever. It's
which is always completely original. There might be an idea that like that concept or idea or thought or feeling might drop into 100 people, but it'll come out in an original way through us because of who we are as completely original beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's so true. And we kind of use our reference points and stuff to sort of feather it out.
What does your meditation? You don't have to describe this if you don't want to, because I know mine's pretty weird. But what does your meditation practice look like? If you have a description of it, or do you?
I can't sit very well. I'm sitting like this now, just so I thought, well, get a bit of gravity into my hips while we do this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm usually sat on a couch or a bed, because it's softer. Grass too. Grass and soft earth is really forgiving. And breaths, if I've been doing stuff, I'll take 5, 10, maybe 15 nice deep breaths, stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. Sort of which sends a hugely calming and soothing signal right down through all of the vital organs of the body, and just, you become like a big puddle. And then that's the kind of sort of beginning point of maybe starting to very gently repeat a mantra, which is just, typically it's a phrase in Sanskrit, Pali, Om Mane Padme Om, big sort of poster one.
Yeah. The sound of creation.
The sound of creation, yeah, lots of broad vowels. And what the mantra tends to do for me is just that it stops the little kind of monkey brain. Doesn't stop it per se, just replaces it, for long enough that it gets the message and stops by itself. And so that sort of expedites me into a very, very meditative space. And the other one is listening, just listening to, even in a quiet room where I'm now, listening to the sounds that are there. If I was at church. And kind of, in that way, kind of one becomes their environment, I think, through the senses. You're no longer yourself going, well, I've got to get them stamps and I've got to send that email to a person. You're not you're not your person, because you're not listening to your person anymore. You've begun to sort of blur the boundaries between your person and your person's environment, by sort of letting all of that blur and let the senses kind of become what's outside. That's it's a really good way of exchanging information with your environment, I think, which is kind of always there and available. That's the thing about writing. I never would have considered myself a writer had I not discovered meditation, because meditation made it possible to see that no matter where you are, any time in the world, doesn't matter. There's always interesting information that you can exchange, or that you can absorb from your environment. There's inspiration everywhere for free. If one can access it.
Yeah.
So that's such a life-changing realization for me, because no longer is life going, oh, I wonder, will I show up on that day for that scene? Will it go okay? Because now it's no longer a tightrope; it's a safety net.
Oh yeah.
Of course I will, because that's the nature of the true nature of creativity and spontaneity. So it has just enriched life in that way, made me so much less worrisome. And creativity is no longer this kind of uphill climb, of anticipation and woe. And now it's just like, well, of course it's going to go okay, because if it goes shit once, then we'll just stop and have a moment, have a recollect and do it again, So it's, yeah.
I love that, because that in itself, you said the word trust, it feels like once you can kind of tap into I'm going to call it the universe's language. Once you tap into that language that isn't a language, but it is a language because it's a communication, there's a sense of trust that everything's going to be okay. And I think that's where the worry dissipates. So when people go, I don't know why, but I worry less, it's like a sense that, no, it's fine. The universe has got your back, The
universe has got your back. It's not out to get you.
No, it's got your back.
Yeah, it's trying to sustain your life. What's your meditation look like? Is it early morning or throughout the different times of the day? Or
I love early morning. Obviously with small kids, it's kind of like take it when you can get it. I've different types of meditation. My go-to is always to sit. I've got a little altar, and I've got all my icons on the altar. So I have Ellen of the Ways. So she's the one with the stag's head and the lantern that guides. And then there's Archangel Michael, who I love. I'm a big fan of. Mary Magdalene, massive fan of hers. There's a couple of Hindu gods and goddesses that I'm into. So it's a mishmash of kind of things that resonate with me. There's a couple of Egyptians in there as well. And I would just kind of settle, sit, open the space, like bless the space with a bit of sacred smoke or whatever I can do. Sometimes even nice room sprays just to clear the energy. And yeah, settle in with breath. And then just it's that little center point that you talked about, that inner peace. It's taken me a very, very, and I mean very long time to get to this place of just an inner knowing, an inner peace, an inner trusting that no matter what arises, everything is okay. So I can tap into that fairly quickly nowadays. I also use a little bit of a mishmash of like brain hacks, I suppose you want to call them. Counting backwards, saying the words deeper, things like that. Slightly hypnosis, little brain hacks that can take you very deep very quickly. So I would use that, or sometimes I would use prayer. It kind of all depends. And then I just wait for any messages internally or externally. And I also use a pendulum. I do love an old pendulum as backup, you know, the little pendulums. So like if I ask a question and then I'll get a yes or a no, or dowsing rods. I'm into dowsing rods as well. So stuff like that. I've got a couple of different little tools that I use.
The front of my book is a pendulum.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's a death mask, but the death mask is a pendulum, and it's about to swing. And for a case, do you know what I mean? That was an idea that came out of meditation.
Nice.
As it was, I was massively inspired by a book called Stalking the Wild Pendulum on the mechanics of consciousness. It's because I suppose the language of authority in our age is science, rightfully so. This guy is a scientist who was a genius from Palestine back in the day, who didn't have a day of education his whole life, but it was drafted into Israeli military and made a lot of sophisticated stuff for the Israeli military back in the day, back when there was an embargo on Israel and no one was allowed to sell them arms.
Yeah.
Not honor those days. But anyway, so he turned his kind of engineering genius brain to meditation and the mechanics of consciousness. And, you know, the book it's a hard slog because it's very science journally. But the distance that this man traveled, you know, it's extraordinary. You know, it's truly amazing in terms of out of his body, out of the whole entire universe. You know,
wow.
And I think because he had such a great engineering acumen, he kind of, as we were saying about that thing of it coming through us.
Yeah,
he had a great structure through which this truth was coming, you know. So he drew a lot of mathematical models of the universe, very simple models of how it works and everything. And the pendulum is the analogy that he uses for essentially the atom, you know, the building block of the universe, and how it sort of swings in and out of existence, you know. So it's sort of constantly appearing and disappearing, dying and being reborn, you know. And so that was why the sort of mask and the pendulum was because I wanted the book they were like, it has to have your face on it. And I went, well, you know, all right, but it has to have a story. It has to have some sort of
intention.
Yeah, can't just be me smiling going, all right.
Hey guys, I'm meditating. Want to meditate with me? I love that. Some of the stuff that you've described there is like the workings of polymaths, you know, that would join science and maths and astronomy and mysticism and make it all one language, which is, again, kind of when you come back to the language of the universe. I think, we've all separated into, oh, well, this is a scientist, so they say that, and the mathematician will say that, and an astronomer will say that. But at one point, they were all one, you know. Like the Rosicrucians kind of had it down that way. And then they just instilled it all into symbolism in different ways. So I'm always on a mission to decipher symbolism.
Yeah.
You know?
So the Rosicrucians, when were they around? Were they European?
Now, let me get this straight. I'm not gonna have this right. So there's probably different factions to Rosicrucianism, but they come out of like Rose, which stems from, again, Jesus and the Essenes, Mary Magdalene, all that period of time of enlightenment and embodiment and what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and the sort of symbolic notion of death and resurrection. That was a thing I read by Alan Watts, and he said it was only by Jesus Christ, the kind of Christian fella, him being killed, but him being resurrected and dying and coming back to life perpetually. It was only after that became the story that he could become a true symbol of reality, and therefore become a symbol of what we call God, because that's the way reality behaves. And that's like, it's so lovely. There's a little bit in the book about that, just that very thing about how modern science, talking about the unified field of quantum physics, and ancient Tibetan books talk about something called Sul, which is essentially the continual appearance and disappearance of reality. Reality is only there by virtue of its movement. If reality it wasn't moving, it wouldn't be there. And it's like they're basically saying all the same stuff. And I am really fascinated by that.
Well, it's like the saying, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody saw it, did it actually happen? Kind of like, is reality because of its perception?
Yeah.
Does it only happen because of one's perception,
Yeah. I think we're in a kind of a giant communal hallucination. I think is Biggs,
A matrix, if you will.
A matrix, yeah. It really is.
Rob, I could talk to you all day about this. And I have so many questions that we haven't even gotten to.
We'll have to pick up again where we left off at some stage.
We will. Before we go, though, can I give you a live well quick fire round?
Do quick fire.
A quick fire round.
I love an old quick fire.
Oh, there's so many questions. I'm so sorry to all the listeners. I've loads of questions to ask you, but okay, we'll do quick fire round and we will revisit because I'm loving this conversation. Okay, so this is the Live Well podcast, so it's a Live Well quick fire round. Robert Sheehan, do you believe in magic?
Yes.
Robert Sheehan, what do you stand for?
Oh, I think just peace and tranquility and having a laugh. More silliness, please.
Yes. Thank you. If you were to distill yourself down to an essence, what would that essence be?
Jesus, these are quite
non-quick fire questions, I know.
Non-quick fiery questions. Essence, I suppose what I aspire to be is, that place of inner peace, maybe. Maybe sort of that sensation of creative inspiration. Let's go with that. That's the answer.
It's a nice place. What's the wildest thing you've ever done?
Oh my God. Wildest thing I've ever done. Oh God, I'm like there's things going through my head. This is why the book took so long, see, because the wildest thing I've ever done. I once peed on stage in front of 1,000 people.
Oh, love it. Okay. What's the one thing you do every way to help? What's the one thing you do every day to help you live wild and free?
Do you know there's a little thing I do, right? It's my own little good deed that I try and do every day. There's an app which plants trees if you watch ads, and it's called Tree App. You basically generate revenue for tree planting organizations around the world. And so I get this little, it's a little bit OCD, I'll be honest with you. Little compulsive sense of, I've done my good thing for the day when I watch a little ad on Tree App, because the app is really well designed to cultivate that sense of do-gooder in you, There's like a little scoreboard and they're like, here's how many here's how many trees you've planted, and here's how many flights you've offset, and all this type of stuff.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
Wow.
that keeps me, a little bit happy during the day.
Robert Sheehan, it has been a pleasure. We shall do it again, please.
We must.
Yes.
Thanks for having us, Hilary.
Love it. Best of luck with the book. It's going to be amazing. I know I'm going to really enjoy it when I do get a chance to read it. And yeah, what's next for Rob? What's he going to do next?
I've been knocking holes in my house for the past few months. It's a serious renovation, not far from yous actually. So
I know. Welcome to the Rebel County.
Why, thank you. And it's I've got a mobile home now, which is parked next to the house.
Do you? Oh, amazing. We'll have to come down.
The next jobs in the immediate is to hook that baby up and make it habitable. Job.
Amazing. We'll come down. We'll walk the land. We'll have a look at the house. We'll see what you're growing. We'll do the whole thing.
So it's only weeds at the moment, but there'll be more edible stuff eventually, I'm sure.
In time. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, my love. And let's do a sequel at some stage.
Would love that. Definitely. We can get more esoteric on it. It could be a special.
Even more so, my God.
Thank you for being here. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making these episodes. Thank you, as always, to our amazing guests. A special thank you to Aoife McNamara, my co-producer extraordinaire from Imagine Media. Please like, share, subscribe, and rate us. It all really helps. And remember, this content is for education and entertainment purposes. In short, it's not gospel. I always say, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Always question everything and do your own research.